Good thing my head wasn't down there.
This is now out of the way. Frees up the rest of the garage to get the suspension off, and so I guess, I don't know, we'll probably finish with the gauges. I don't know if I'm a superstitious person or not, but I just noticed that last year I stopped driving this vehicle at 66665. Now, I think 666 is bad enough as it is, let alone 66666. No wonder it wouldn't start this spring.
Doesn't really much matter whether I take the wiring off first or I go and do some of the hydraulic brake lines first. I might as well tackle the wiring. I've got the fuse box is mounted up underneath the dash on a bit of a bracket, and just to make sure what particular type of bolt it has holding it, I've got a mirror. I could crawl underneath, but I've crawled underneath the dash in this car many times already, and I don't think I need to do that. This is a wonderful standard British wiring system. It's got 2 fuses. Yeah, a lot of these gauges, they don't have spade connectors on them like the modern stuff. They're just screwed into terminals. The fuel gauge is one of these gauges that it doesn't have a spade connector. The wires go directly into these terminals. So I'm going to, this will be a couple of steps. I'll take the gauge out, push it through the dash, disconnect the wires, pull it back around behind the dash, reconnect the wires. This fuel gauge, okay, this one goes in here. This fuel gauge has had a little bit of a problem over the last few years. It's picked up some condensation somewhere along the line, so it tended to fog up. Okay, out. We'll retwist these for now. That's not good. Anyway, there is the wiper motor. It is definitely easier to work on the dash in this configuration than crawling underneath doing the old limbo. There's the grounding loops, bracket. Okay, that pretty much cleans the dash out. The harness still goes underneath the firewall, and I think there's one major multi-connector up there. There is one cable running through here that's going to hinder getting this wiring loom passed back through the firewall, and it's the emergency brake cable. And frankly, I don't even know why I have an emergency brake cable, because I've never used it. It's one of these things this is it here. It's up underneath the dash. When you put the emergency brake on, well, you have to pull it so damn hard to get it to latch. Well, it never even gets to the point where the teeth start to engage. So, but I stuck it on anyway because it was part of the vehicle. I think there might be some law associated with making sure that you have an emergency brake on a vehicle, so I left it. Well, it's taken me a while, but I decided to cut the connector off, and it's almost off other than for one last wire. I thought it was best to keep the wires all bundled together because there are pairs that join together at this particular junction point. And the last few bits of wire, and it's quite a mess inside the vehicle. So I'm going to find a nice, big, clean box to put this monstrosity in. The harness to the back continues in through the transmission tunnel. Anyway, the brake line is also bundled up in this group. There's another one way down here. May not get my arm back either. Just like getting into a bathtub. Perfect fit. I think I might as well take the line off and try to remove this entire unit, this whole thing, including the pedals. It should just come out with a little bit of force. Get my sleeve caught there. Okay. So that's the entire front portion of the brakes. Upper suspension arm, I believe, is off a Triumph Herald. So that loosens that up. We have a bolt at the front. Let's take the top one off and see what kind of grief that causes. It's gonna have to come apart anyway. And that's off. It's out.
Rack and pinion is the best form of steering in the world.
Okay, there's number 2. Okay. It's interesting that the shock absorbers actually form part of the attachment for the tonneau covers. This is one of the bushings that I replaced with nylon. So this one panhard rod will come off very easily. There we go. Whoops, almost. Almost again. There. I think we got it.
Once again, if the A-frame on the bottom breaks, the rear axle slides back and forth.
That's free. Let's move on to, so you can see the rear axle is definitely loose. That's got it, and a little bit more to get it the rest of the way out. Okay, one bolt there, and let's see if this is going to pop out. There we go. It'll pull down. There we go. I don't know if this is approved procedure. There we are. Okay, that's down. This is the Heim joint, although you can't really see it yet. And this frame should fall on the ground, as well as a lot of other stuff. Good thing my head wasn't down there. This is the heim joint. As you can see, the nut's loose. This is spinning real easy. It should have lots of force. These things need to be replaced about once a season. The axle's clear, there's nothing holding it, it's just basically sitting in the frame. So I'm just going to pull it slightly towards this side. All right. Okay. Arnold Schwarzenegger's got nothing on this. Oh. But we'll start with these, see if we can get some of them out without stabbing myself. This looks a little dangerous. Kind of like some sort of Japanese suicide thing. Oh, I missed one right up here. Hiding underneath the leatherette. Hopefully when this thing is dipped, all of these pop rivets will vanish. The stubs, that is. This leatherette's going to be replaced. The vinyl's going to be replaced. As you can see, this also forms part of the inner fender over here. Nothing is wasted. Some silicone on the outside as well. I don't know if it ever did any good to keep the floors from leaking, because when it rains, whether the top's up or the top's down, your pant legs get wet. It's all going to be replaced. Okay, there's one inside steel reinforcing whatever with vinyl. I think it is steel. I don't know if it's stainless steel. There is some rust, especially where I've drilled holes in the frame to accommodate certain things and haven't closed off the box section. All of this has to be cleaned up. This stuff might come off in the dip tank. Otherwise, I'm going to have to scrape it off. The kick plate on this side has to come out in order to get this inner panel out. It's really starting to disassemble the body, and I don't know if I want to do too much of that yet until I ascertain what has to come off. But I got to get this inner panel off because it's being refurbished. Frankly, everything is going to be coming off sooner or later, so we might as well start someplace. Okay, number two. There's still the matter of the serial number. It's still on this piece of aluminum up here. Before I flip this thing upside down, I think I should protect that, get that off of there. That's the only thing that allows me to register this car. Whoa. Okay. One very rare, one very precious serial number plate. These rivets will be very difficult to get at once this thing's flipped upside down. So I might as well drill the heads off. That relieves this panel. It's still clipped up underneath the side panels, but it's handier from the position it's in right now. These hood latches have been patiently waiting for quite a while for me to remove them. Good thing I don't have to keep the aluminum. Okay, we have 2 each of these. The other 2 are on the hood. With these pop rivets on the top drilled out, we might as well continue the process along the frame rails on the side. It's just something that's going to have to get done sooner or later, and it makes it easier if it's right side up. I can still access them the same way as I could access these other ones at the bottom, but they're handy. So let's continue on over here. Let's try to ease these panels up a little bit. This one in here, I have a bit of a special tool, just a flattened screwdriver that's got a hook bent into it. Maybe we can actually get this out so I can get the emergency brake out. It looks to be pinned still. So I don't know, maybe in the process of dipping it, this pin will fall out. I'm going to leave it attached. I'm not too sure whether or not dipping this dash is going to ruin this leather, so I might as well pop it off. There we go, another successful extraction. These lock the side curtains in place, and they are very easy to find, but you might as well try and take them off. This is the wonderful compound curve that may be almost impossible to duplicate in a rebuild. I'm going to try and see if I can find someone who's capable of doing it. The last time they did it, they left this original piece of aluminum in place and replaced from here forward. But because of that, there's a weld here and there's a weld down at the corner, both of which the bottom one cracked. So I don't know if I should dare get the drill out and drill these out. I think I will contact the person who's going to do the job and make sure that they feel comfortable enough in reproducing this. These shock tower covers are certainly eligible. They were out before, and it doesn't take much to pop them back in. So we're going to pop them out. They will clean up. They're in not a bad shape. So after talking to the person who is hopefully going to do the aluminum on this vehicle, he suggests that in order to minimize the number of trips between his shop and my shop, that I should very carefully take the aluminum off. So in order to do that, I've got to flip it over. So I've got a pair of helping hands tonight to help me do that. So we're just going to rotate it. You can hear all the pop rivets rolling around in the frame. Okay, and now I have about 1 million pop rivets to remove. The floor is also pop riveted to this support bracket at the back here. Okay, then moving to the inside, just break some of the seal along the top row. Now, it could very easily come off, but before I do that, I've got some aluminum at the back to uncurl. I don't want it to fall off and then hang and drag and break something that I might have to use later on. So there's a couple of rolls around the back portion of the frame. I want to uncurl them, and then I have a cut to make right at the very, very top of the rear axle mount, and that's where this one piece is going to be separated from the back and the other side. I'll reach underneath. And all sorts of crud in here. Okay, so the floor is up above this side panel now. I think there's a bead of silicone inside along the edge of the transmission tunnel, but I can't remember for sure. I know that there's a bead along here where the foot box is. Yeah, I ran a bead of silicone down the bottoms of the frame rails to help secure this. Smart me. Even though the box is upside down, I'm probably going to have to take it apart. It's badly damaged at this corner from where it was hitting against that portion of the transmission tunnel. This plate was originally added to the first version of the box to accommodate a little problem in clearance with the transmission, but obviously it didn't quite do its job because it was still being damaged at the bottom. Now there still may be some rivets on the inside. There are several still along inside the foot box that I can only access by either removing this plate, which I don't think is an option, or getting underneath and coming up inside the footwell. There's a couple of cross members down there. I think that's my only option. So the next time you see this, hopefully it'll be off, but I got to get some more of those pop rivets out from inside. Okay, this is off. It was a really bad design when I first put it together because it was like patching little bits and pieces. This whole area here had been cut back and pushed in to accommodate the clearance, but it's a bit of a pattern. Now that I've got that side off, I can access these other pop rivets that are inside. Okay, one oddball other piece of metal. This one I've snookered myself. The top of the transmission tunnel was pop riveted on after this plate was put in and pop riveted in place. So there's a pop rivet that I can't even get at because it's behind this other panel. I guess I'm going to have to go in with the chisel and see if I can break it. Okay, that wasn't too bad. Okay, one. Floor. I don't know where to put it. That's the top of the tranny tunnel. And that is the transmission tunnel. Just like that. Ouch. Don't want to kneel on pop rivets. So this fit up here like that. And there was an access port cut on the side to accommodate the speedometer cable attachment. That's got it. Okay, It's a pattern, remember. There's still a couple roll nuts stuck in it. Okay, peeled just like an orange. You have the back to do, and then this rusty old frame is off to be dipped. These rivets are so big, I'm gonna possibly have to do a second pass with a bigger drill bit. Might as well get this grounding strap off. Well, that's not what you want to do with wire. Do that to the other side. Again, this stuff is a little sharp, so I don't want to give it too much force with my hands. Oh, well, that's all it needed. So we have the inside panel now ready to go with the rest of the stuff. And the frame is now clean as a whistle. Okay, today's the day I gain back all of this garage space. This is off to get dipped.